Hello there, and welcome back to TerraFirmaCraft HardRock. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I've started laying out the floor plan, and once I got into creative and started planning stuff out, I realized 3 by 2? Yeah, that's gonna be plenty big enough to start with. So we're just gonna go with this floor plan for now. I've actually got a couple images I could throw up from my creative world as I was designing and figuring out what I want to do. So we're going to get started with that. But as you saw in the intro, I now have a steel shovel, a steel knife, a steel chisel over there, and I made a flint and steel. And making the steel rods was a pain in the butt. It took 6 charcoal to, worth of reheating the steel to finally get the recipe right on the anvil. So I am not looking forward to doing that more. But I also made a scythe, just a bronze one. Don't need anything special for this. And we're just going to go around cutting all the grass. And the good thing about scythe, they cut in a 3x3. So you can clear a lot quickly. And so we're going to be clearing the straw, leveling this, so adding more dirt to make all this level, filling in the 1 or 2 holes, this one here. I don't know what's in that burrow, but I'm gonna end up probably destroying it. And I gotta fill in this hole over here. As you see, I'm already laying out some slabs. This might be a little bit of an issue because I was going to put my house is going to extend out that way. I was going to put my kitchen over here and have the cellar under the kitchen. That would require my cellar essentially just dangling. It'd be interesting. So I'll see about what I want to do with that. But yep, I've got a bit of work to do, a bit of cleaning up to do, a bit of leveling to do, and we're going to get started building the base. We can make these cut sandstone, and you can make that by taking the normal sandstone. So we have grab a little bit of white sandstone here. Toss that in your crafting grid with a chisel to turn it into the smooth, and then toss it in again to turn it into the cut. So we're going to be using cut sandstone, smooth sandstone, and just regular sand to texture the walls as I build it. And while this is a giant square for now, it will not stay a square. There will be outcroppings and annexes and whatnot as we go around. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll bring it back in when I've made a little bit more progress, and we're going to start moving some of our stuff inside. Tortoise. It's a tortoise burrow. I have nothing but tortoise burrows around me. Could be worse. And since I need to go get more sandstone, might as well give you a little bit of a flyby so you can see what the base looks like now. So over here we have our, will be barn slash stables. Obviously, we don't have many animals in there currently. This over here is going to be our forge and bloomery, all in one, including the blast furnace. And we got the little bit here is going to be my kitchen and our staircase down to our cellar, which we haven't built yet. This is the main building. And this is going to be my storage depot. That hole right there is a tortoise burrow, just like that burrow right there is a tortoise burrow, and the little one outside the base is a tortoise burrow. Did I mention we have a lot of tortoises around here? So that's the basic layout. I'm leaving room over here so I can expand out this way and wrap around for when I get into some of the bigger things, create and industrial engineering. But for now, we're flying south. I've got to go collect a whole lot more white sandstone, because what I have is not enough. I can't make white sandstone, can I? No, I cannot make sandstone. So only way to get it is to mine it. So we have to travel around 3,000 blocks south. Thankfully, this gyrocopter or gyrodyne makes the trip 15-20 minute trip. It is so much faster than if I were to walk it. Mind you, to walk from spawn to where our current base is took me about 4 hours, and that's 6,000 blocks. Traveling south to where the Badlands is 3,000, so that would, if I'm walking, take at least 2 hours each way. Instead, it takes me about 40 minutes round trip, not including time mining. So this makes it so much better, but it does consume a lot of water and a lot of food. So I brought a bunch of sandwiches. I've got my water flask, and in my backpack, I have enough water to fill my water skin twice. So we should be good. And it's getting colder out. So, yeah. I might, well, as mentioned before, I'm going to need to go find myself some alpacas or go yoink the sheep so I can get wool and make myself some wool clothing for the winter. Otherwise, we're going to freeze. And that is not ideal. You know, I've been at this for a few hours and I really haven't shown you guys anything. So let's do a little tour. So this silo, as I mentioned, is going to be our main storage, or at least our bulk storage. So I'm putting all of my drawers in here and I'm crafting additional drawers. And yeah, we're just going to try to store all the big bulk items in here to take care of it, and we'll have overflow in chests, right? I showed you the stables slash barn. Right now it's a little sparse on animals, but you figure I'll have, say, 2 or 3 goats in here. I'll have maybe another donkey in here. Get 2 or 3 alpacas, 2 or 3 pigs, that sort of thing. Just have a stable for each different animal. And I mean, I'll be breeding replacements, but that's about it. Over here is going to be the main house. I'm going to have, obviously, rooms sectioned off on the bottom. I'm going to have a foyer, I guess, and I'm going to have an upper level also. And this is going to be the kitchen. We're going to make another top and bottom oven. I'm going to stick it here, so I'm going to have a double oven set up. I'm going to have a staircase going down, probably going this way, and maybe turning to go that way underground. So I'll have the cellar underneath the house, and that way I can access it from the kitchen. And I'll be moving all of these barrels, save for probably the boiled water, herbal water, into not necessarily the cellar, because the barrels make no difference in the cellar, but I'll have a barrel room. If you've watched my TerraFirmaCraft series, I had a barrel room above the cellar. That's probably what I'm going to do again, just so everything is stored kind of in a make sense sort of way. You'll see what I mean in the future. Gyrodyne is not going to stay there, but it's a good enough place for it to land. This area, I'm going to do some landscaping. I'm going to have berry bushes along the walls. Maybe do a little bit on the inside also. Maybe some flowers. Maybe move the beehives over here. And then have a small farm plot for plants that don't require hydration. And I'm also going to have a few fruit trees over here. So olive trees, apple trees, pear trees, that sort of thing. Which, by the way, it is apple season now. So I've picked a few apples. I ate one, so I now have the apple food group taken care of. And then we have our beginning of a forge room. So obviously I'm going to make it expand it a bit. And when we get IE and create and whatnot, I'm going to expand out that way and that way. So we're just going to have like a giant L on the exterior of the building, of the compound connected. That's going to be the, the engineering complex. I'm going to change up the floors, obviously. But here, this is something I was asked in my last episode if it worked, and I wasn't sure. And I was told that it does work. We have the blast furnace on top of the crucible, on top of the charcoal forge. I have not run it yet. Now, if I light the forge, it's not going to do anything for the blast furnace. You have to light the blast furnace individually. But if this works the way it should, we make the pig iron in the blast furnace, it dumps directly into the crucible. I can then heat up the crucible and start casting out the pig iron while still feeding more stuff into the blast furnace. And you notice I put some stairs here so I can get up nice and easily. We can reach the bellows from here. We've got a ladder that leads up to the bloomery so I can toss stuff into the bloomery. Just try to make it nice and convenient. Got the anvil right there. I've got the second anvil back there. So I can always do two. Actually, let's move this one right there. So now I could work two things at once if I want to, or if I'm pulling something out of here, it's going to be iron. It doesn't need to be done on a steel anvil. So, you know, don't need to travel far for it. And then, of course, we have our casts here. I'm going to make more casting molds and probably extend them out this way so we can cast like 6 at a time. But that's not a immediate thing. Oh, and I'm going to have all of our coal, ores, that's flux, clay. That's all going to be stored over here. Just like our ingots, extra crucible, all that stuff. So we're going to try to make sure everything is localized. And yes, I am not getting rid of the turtles. Well, tortoises. I love turtles. They are my pets now. I've got many, many, many tortoises in my compound. Got a burrow there, burrow outside. I said I was going to build a, not necessarily aquarium, but see if I can't make like a, not a barn, a zoo. Aquarium, zoo, sort of, whatever. Try to collect all the animals that I can. This is not going to be a big enough space for that. But who says I can't expand it out that way? And do like a reptile room. And have all the turtles in there. And the tortoises in there. And there are snakes you can catch. In addition to the giant ones that chase you and kill you all the time. So maybe the ones that I can catch I'll store in there. In the meantime, you can see a little bit of what I'm planning to do with the texturing. Doesn't look too bad, and when I mix in a little white sand, it'll look even better. I wonder how... I didn't test this in my creative world. I wonder how white concrete powder would look also. But yeah, we're going to be mixing in the cut stone with the smooth stone with sand. Let's go and see if I have any sand on me. I don't think the... Yeah, that doesn't look as good. Smooth and cut variants of the sandstone. We're not going to use the raw because it just doesn't look as good. The smooth textures look nice. Ooh, I don't know if I can put the sand over a... No, I didn't. Didn't think so. Okay. So that means if I'm going to do it, I have to put in spaces like right there. But see, that does go pretty well together. You just can't put it over anything where it will fall. But all in all, this is coming together quite nicely. I am going to build a temporary room back here so I actually have a safe place to sleep in, so I don't have to worry about the weather while I still continue building up the rest of the building. And then we're going to do a nice little entranceway here, do an arch, do some columns. Whether I do, you know, get marble. I think I don't ever do it, so I don't know if I can. Okay, so there's smooth marble, there's chiseled marble. I was gonna say, I can always see about getting, say, smooth marble, and then getting the chisel and bits tools, the chisel from Chisel and Bits, and then chiseling the marble into proper Roman columns. Or at least as close to a proper Roman column as I can make in Minecraft. Ooh, I like that idea. And then we will see about doing other stuff like mosaics on the floors. I will be making a bathhouse somewhere eventually. I don't know where. Oh, and if you notice, this is all at the same level. It was going to take far more far more dirt to raise all of this up one level than it was just for me to lower what I already had down one level. So we lowered the entire base down by one level, and then it did a little landscaping to make it look more natural. I gotta lower that, but this is where all my flowers are, and I don't want to destroy flowers. So that's the current condition of the base. I still have to do a lot more of adding layers, and then we gotta start making roofs. Now, I can make terracotta roofs from Macraw's mod, Macraw's roofs, and these are the ones I was thinking. Oh, that's just regular terracotta. Well, there should be a red version, shouldn't there? Could have sworn I had a red version. Okay, well, I guess it's just plain old terracotta that I need, which is just clay heated in a forge. We can do that pretty easy, and then we can make these. You can't see it because I'm getting hungry and the color's getting desaturated. And I moved all my food. Okay, that's a bit better. These roofs they're tiled, and I think they would go well with a Roman style architecture. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. You can make them with terracotta and lumber, or if you have the mechanical saw from Create, which we do now have, if I make a filter, I can make the filter and then throw the terracotta on to make different parts. So with the mechanical saw and with a filter, with the filter is pretty easy. Piece of wool and 2 iron nuggets. How am I supposed to get iron nuggets? By cutting wrought iron down or by casting out iron. Well, I take that back. Iron is not that easy to get. At least not the iron nuggets. But if you get a item list filter here, you can then drag the item from JEI into the filter, and I can then decide, hey, I want the base lower top roof. Drag it into the filter, toss the terracotta onto the saw, and it will turn it into the proper piece. So that's where we're at now. This I can't fix. There is a fix that I know about in this current that you could do. If you go to options, resource packs, if you move Life resources above Vexxed Visuals, it will replace Vexxed Visuals will not replace any of the Life textures. So this will be correct. It will not be the broken textures. But all Life items, so that means all the Life food, the bowl, the ovens, the peel, it will all have the built-in Life texture and not the Vexxed Visual texture. So if you don't mind the food looking different or some of the items looking different, then go for that. If the broken texture bothers you too much, I'm desensitized to it. I'm gonna just keep it. Alright, I'm gonna get back to working on the base and build up the walls a bit further. Okay, the other day I mentioned that you can wash pink sand and get redstone. I wasn't sure how. You can literally wash it the same way you wash ore. You toss it in, you let the sand process, and you have a small chance. I say small chance, the first one that pops does it. Gives you redstone. So early game, while you're processing down your hematite, you'll get a lot of pink sand. You can then process down that pink sand and get some redstone, which you can then use for a couple different things. Well, a lot of different things. But one thing you are going to want to eventually make, if I can find it, rose quartz, because you need this to make a lot of the create stuff. And you can get these, you can either get nether quartz or quartz shards. I'm sure you've noticed these giant black boulders. These are basalt boulders. These are quartz geodes, like you have amethyst geodes in vanilla. So let's just toss the rest of that down, let it process. This chunk with the washer is chunk loaded, so it will keep running for me. I can walk away and I'll keep processing my powder. And I need to plug this hole also. I'm going to fall down it one of these days, and that will not be good. Alright, so here's the geode. I'm going to assume everything is affected by gravity. So if I break something, stuff might collapse. Okay, you heard that. It is, in fact, affected by gravity. So let's toss one of those. One of those. Support it. Okay, now I can mine into this a little bit safer. Then we got some raw quartzite in there. Then we got a quartz block. That gives a quartz block, which we can crush into quartz shards and sulfur. We also picked up a few quartz shards on their own. Make a little bit of cobblestone so I can get in here. And there you go. Just like with a amethyst geode, there are quartz shards growing in here. So this is how you get quartz without going to the nether. So we're going to need a bunch of this in the future to make rose quartz for a lot of different create stuff. The Tinker's Construct fuel tanks need quartz. So that's good to know. We're going to want to make a Tinker's Construct before too long. Can make quartz dust. Can this be used for... Can be used to make silicon, alright. Can be used to make nether quartz. I need a pressure chamber to make storage parts. That is not going to be fun. Use it on the engineer's workbench to make an electronic component. So yeah, so we're going to need this quartz. So I assume this is like a geode. If you let them, if you just leave them over time, they will, the buds will grow. And then you can come collect them, and that's how you get quartz. So that's quartz. Now we know how to make rose quartz, so we can go look at making the electron tubes, which we need from Create. Okay, where's the burrow? I don't even see it. I'll have to come back later. There's a burrow around here somewhere for spider nest, so we can get rid of that in the future. So I was going to say before I get interrupted, electron tubes, which we use to make a lot of different create stuff. We need it to make the brass funnels, the smart pipes, train signals, Nixie tubes, adjustable gear shifts, well extractor, Tesla coil. So yeah, we're going to need that in the future. Now, time to go back because I am once again starving and everything is becoming desaturated. And yeah, the world looks bad when it gets desaturated like this. So a Skelly spawned in my iron mine and he's now just camping my stuff. Oh, he's gone. Well, finally. As you can see, it did not go well for me. Anyway, I need to gather up about 10 ingots worth of iron. We need to gather up 10 ingots worth of iron because there's a... I was gonna say new tool. New to me that I want to make. And that is the portable drill from Create Stuff in Additions. So this is going to require a brass drill head, which means we're going to need to make a bunch of brass, and we're going to need to make some deployers. That's going to be a bit... Oh! Never mind, I can do it on anvil. That makes life easier. We're going to need brass ingots, brass mechanism, andesite alloy, drill head, and a steam engine. Still going to need to make a deployer, but I can do this with just one deployer. It's going to be, I was going to say a bit of annoying. It's, you got to just manually refill everything. But that'll make a steam engine. You put that all together, you get a portable drill. I will probably have to make the backpack from Create. Not backpack, the copper back tank. Probably have to make one of these. That's not too bad, but fluid valve is okay. That's not too bad. Make one of these so we can charge it full of air, probably to power this. But yeah, and then we can sort of drill a lot quicker instead of just coming down here and having to mine one block at a time. So that is our next goal. See how much of it I can get done today. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's not going to be too bad. And we'll actually get something done in this episode aside from me just talking about all the work I did on the house or on the base, which is looking good. I'm not going to downplay that. I like how it's coming together. It's just maybe doesn't make the best viewing experience just watching me talk about everything I've done. Then again, isn't that most episodes just talking about everything you've done? Anyway, I'm going to keep working on... I'm going to get to work on making this drill. And I'll bring it back when we have a little more progress. Okay, let's make the deployer. And let's see about making the actual drill here. So to make the deployer, it's got quite a few steps. We need to make, first, a andesite casing. So stripped log plus andesite alloy. And we're actually going to need 2 of these. So let's make 2. We need to add a small cog to the andesite casing. To make the small cog, we're going to need multiple small cogs. So we're going to do 2 for now. We can put slabs down and right click with our saw and that'll turn them into a small slab. Small gear. And then click that on. That makes it a gearbox. Then we need a redstone torch. So, put a torch down. Right-click redstone onto it. Pick up the torch. Put that on. That turns into a clutch. We do another small gear. That turns into a gear shift. Now we got the gear shift, we can grab our brass hand, which we make from a double brass sheet on an anvil. Apply that. We now have a deployer. Okay. I may have discovered a small bug. So, you can make the brass mechanism either using this sequence from Create or by making on the anvil. I made the brass rod, which is, 1 brass ingot becomes 2 brass rods. I completed the recipe, so there were 2 brass rods in the anvil. I then turned it into a brass mechanism, and it consumed both rods and made 1 mechanism. So either that's a bug and I just wasted a mechanism, or it actually takes 2 and I didn't know that. But, so we've got the deployer. Next, we need to start making the drill. We're going to need quite a few cog wheels for this. Oh, I forgot to make the wrought iron. Okay, well, we'll get to... Yep, no. I forgot to make the wrought iron, so this is going to take a minute. But we do need to make some more shafts. And so instead of right-clicking andesite alloy onto a post, we can toss one onto the saw here and turn this, and it'll turn it into ladders. That's not right. Andesite alloy onto the saw to give 6 shafts. So why did that not work? Wait, what's the difference between cutting and sawing? Let's see if I can trick it into working by doing this. Putting this in the filter. Then tossing that on. Yes, okay, so we can trick it into working that way. But now I need to go make up additional andesite alloy in addition to the raw iron I completely forgot about. So let's do that. Okay, I should now have everything I need to finish this project. First, let's turn this into a turntable. Pick that up. We can apply that to the andesite casing, and that makes a depot. We can place this, and yes, we've had our first snow. Oh, by the way, You can throw hot items onto snow just like you can into water to cool them down a bit faster. Alright, so now we have our depot there. We've got our crank here. We've got a deployer. We need to turn all of these into large gears and all of these into small gears. And then turn them all into cogwheels. I just realized I need another 2 small cogs. Make that. Switch this to our offhand. Grab that. Okay. Problem solved. So let's make the brass drill head first. We need the drill head, andesite, 4 brass, and the brass mechanism. So that's the drill head. And then we can place that there along with 2 cogs and a single brass. Then we take our brass sheet, our large cogs, our small cogs, our fans, and our andesite alloy, because we need to apply those in small, large, fan, and an andesite. Small, large, fan, andesite. Put the sheet there. Put that there. I only want 1 at a time. And there we go. We now have a steam engine. Throw that here. And now we have a portable drill. Now, this should not work. Yeah. Does not currently work because we don't have any steam for it. Which means we have to make a tank. That's going to require a fluid valve, which is going to require more brass, and a pipe, which we make from a double copper sheet. And then 4 more copper sheets and 2 more shafts, and that'll make our tank. But I'm pretty much out of time for today. So that's going to be next episode, and then we can actually use the drill to go mining. But yeah, we have our first, create contraption. First usable tool here. That's, I guess, technically better than steel, because it will be faster. So, hey, we're making progress. And the base is looking better, although it did just snow, which means we are now officially in storm season. So I'm going to need to put some temporary roofs up until I can make the terracotta to make the proper roofs. And that's just going to go over the barn there, the silo, okay, almost everything. And we can do that with just thatch or with mud bricks. So I'm going to do that between episodes. Hopefully we don't have to worry about any tornadoes between now and then. And then, well, as you see, we've got trees planted to start growing fruit. They won't fruit till next year, but we got it started at least. And yeah, we're making progress. So thank you for joining me today. Hope you've had a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Later.